I think they're just eager
This
when we get to
this
it.
chapter is just nuts. I mean, there's so much. Holy cow.
There's quite a bit. I will. That is an understatement.
Whew. Oh boy.
Uh,
Oh, we can start off light. I mean, I like this. I like the cover page. It reminded me of there's that scene in Strong World where Brooke
Yeah,
fights some ants. That's what I thought of when I saw this.
yeah. I feel
oh
like it's
yeah.
supposed to be a reference to that scene. That's immediately what came to my mind as well.
Because those were actually army ants, right? Like the same breed?
The
God, I
design of
remember
these ants
nothing
is
from
like
Strong World.
almost exactly the same as those other ones. So yeah, they do look the same. They're just not as large as they were in the movie anyway. Or at least I don't think they are. I don't know. All
Well,
right.
they were actually ant-sized in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, anyway, first page, I pretty much shit my pants because this is like what I've been waiting for forever is seeing some more intimidating numbers, like the higher ranking numbers.
So which
Which
one are
numbers are
these? That's
these?
1, 5, and what's Zonky? 3?
No idea. I just know the number one guy is like exactly what I pictured. He's
Fu.
that
I,
he's that
I
one
think Fu
silhouette.
is. Wait, well, I think Fu is sixth. I don't know what the other ones are.
Is it 1, 2, and 3?
Zonky
Okay.
has to be
Fu's
3,
two.
right?
Gotcha.
Fu is two. Oh, what? One, two, and
Unswan.
three. Wow.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah,
Yeah, these are the big boys. And that one guy is that one silhouette that we always talked about. If you remember from the first showing,
Oh
Yeah,
the
yeah.
one
the
that
devil horn
didn't get
looking guy.
revealed. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
the one
this,
in the forefront is definitely the most intimidating.
yeah, I love his design. I love it. This is like he looks like way more. I don't know. He actually looks like a demon. You know what I mean? Like he's got the
He looks
badge.
like
He's
Yeah.
got
he's actually got
earrings.
some cunning in him too.
I
Yeah.
Honestly,
also
that smile
wonder
and
like who's
mustache.
gonna one shot him, right?
Oh man, please God no. I was
I mean,
I was
like,
hoping at least some of these guys would actually speak. But
Yeah.
get either way, he
They
still
will. They
Well,
looks.
will. I think.
to be fair, they've only laughed so far. These guys might be able to speak. They just aren't doing it yet.
He looks like I mean, but the thing is like Hacha looks like he could have spoke. You know what I mean? He looked like a fucking beetle.
Oh yeah,
Did he not speak?
Hacha and no, he didn't. Hacha and
I thought he did for some reason.
Inbi, they have actual clothes on. They're
Yeah,
like the
like
only two
these
numbers that have
guys. Yeah,
actual
they just
outfits.
look like gigantic, like adult, like men. You know what I mean? I mean, he's got the
Yeah,
horns and stuff, but he actually looks more human than any of these other guys. The rest of them kind of just look like monsters.
yeah. Well, besides Hacha, yeah, he and Hacha look the most human of the whole group.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really like this development too, man.
Yeah.
um,
Didn't expect it at all, to be honest. I
Apu the
thought we would just
goat.
cut back to them fighting, but Apu's ready to fucking double cross his old allies again. Like,
I
I'm
love it.
not
I love it,
surprised
dude.
after the whole Queen incident, though. You know,
Yeah, that too. That probably played somewhat of a role. But I also
I didn't
imagine even if
expect
that
this.
didn't happen, he probably would have done this anyways, based on
Yeah,
like recent developments.
yeah, that's fair. I totally didn't expect this, but I figured it was going to end up happening after the Queen thing.
Yeah, I wasn't confident if he was gonna double down or switch again. Like I was really completely unsure. Apu's like a fucking wild card to me, bro, and I love it. He's just so fucking weird and out
Yes,
there.
he's his own agent, man. I love that.
all this is what I thought Hawkins would end up doing. Honestly,
Nah, Hawkins is the fucking real clown, bro.
I mean, at
Uh,
this point, yeah, yeah.
no, I think Hawkins is a good character, but Apu's just where it's at.
He's still my favorite of the worst gen.
Oh, he's definitely my least favorite. I don't like him, but I recognize he's a good character.
Oh shit.
um, but Apu is just out here. Drake, I'm not sure what he's gonna respond to this with. Like he's being offered as at least temporary alliance with Apu here, and like I don't see what's in it for him to cross the Straw Hats at this moment.
yeah, he's not. He's not gonna get some.
He's
After that flashback with Kobe saying trust in Luffy, I don't think he's gonna take the alliance.
Yeah, I think this is
So
gonna. I think this might lead into the actual Drake versus Apu fight.
well, hang on, because this isn't really like against the Straw Hats. They're conspiring to kill Kaido. So this
Well,
could
well,
very
no,
well
Apu
happen because of it.
here. Apu here is saying that whoever wins or whatever, they'll clean them up type shit, right?
I think he's gonna do it. I don't.
Yeah, but
At least right now, what I know is that Drake is in. Apu has the upper hand here in their discussion. He's sitting here with 3 of his fucking gigantic monster guys. I know, like, yeah, one shot means whatever, but no way Oda writes that where Drake just takes them all out. He can't do
no,
that. He's
Drake can't one shot.
Oh, for sure not.
yeah. These
For
guys
sure
are
not.
these are even the big bad numbers. Like
He was
these
having
guys
trouble
are-
with Apu as is, so
Yeah.
like he's not gonna take out the numbers as well.
I think he's gonna do it. I think he is. I don't know what plan they're gonna come up with, but I think whatever it is, Drake is actually gonna go along with it because he is a Marine after all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and he's only got so few options, right? Like he already was driven to desperation a while back with like Queen and stuff like that. And so he
Yeah.
tried to join that alliance, but yeah. So you know, I think he'll do this.
As
Oh,
well
what-
is what do we like? What are the numbers allegiances? Like, are they just on
Yeah.
Apu's side? Like, fuck Kaido.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, has Apu like hypnotized them, but they don't really look like hypnotized or like taking control of
Yeah.
like Hacha sort of was. Like, they don't give off
No.
that vibe. But it's like Kaido probably either like saved them or bought them from Punk Hazard, at least according to Big Mom, 20 years ago. So they've been with Kaido
would have
way longer
allegiance
than
to
Apu.
Kaido, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So-
I don't
It's
think
gotta
they
be
have
his
allegiance to
crew.
Kaido.
Like I don't know. These guys, they're too crazy anyway. Like their allegiance is so. It was never really made out to be like a strong
it's-
thing. It's like we get to drink and eat and like
Yeah, true.
terrorize and
Yeah,
even like
that's
when they
where I
were
was-
there before, they were just attacking random people regardless. So I think like if Apu has some way of kind of controlling them like that, then they'll just go along with it. You know.
Mhm.
Apu seems just like their Pied Piper. They don't seem to have like any larger motive or anything besides have fun, cause destruction, drink and eat.
And
so-
Apu's all about that, so they're like, "Fuck it, I'm following Apu." Type shit.
Yeah, yeah, it seems like he is the one who's been controlling them. And I'm wondering if like Kaido's had a problem controlling the numbers in his crew. And Apu
And like
was
Apu came in and
the
helped with
first
that.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most I could imagine is him just like beating the numbers into submission. You know what I mean? And like keeping them like unleashing them sometimes, but then like if they didn't listen, is like, yeah, I'm just gonna kick your ass. I don't know.
Yeah.
One thing I gotta say that I never thought much about is God, the numbers are such a fucking glow up for Apu compared to his old shitty ass crew.
The
I forgot what his old crew
entirely
looked like.
fucking nameless crew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just, like nobodies, dude. Apu
The
actually
fucking
got
people
some
we
good
don't
guys
see.
under him,
I'm
though.
looking up his crew right now.
The fucking people we don't see after.
Wait, no, there was that one
Marineford.
guy that was cool, the fat one. I liked him.
Oh yeah, he was alright, but yeah, we got fat numbers here now too. Like they're
Oh my god. Here, I'll post an image real quick.
Yeah.
The chat manga. The one on the left side. I like him. He's sick, bro.
Oh, that
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
guy.
yeah. Fuck, I remember we memed about him in the past. Yeah.
Yeah, that was what, just before the time skip. That's the last time we ever see his crew, isn't it?
Basically, yeah.
It's actually
Or maybe
don't-
maybe there was like some glimpses during the Kid Hawkins Apu stuff, but I don't.
Oh yeah,
remember.
someone check that. That was chapter
795.
795 Suicide.
Yeah, that's when Kaido falls. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what is
During the end of
Iwato
Dressrosa.
again? Did it like one of you guys has to know that, right?
Wait,
The
from
room
what?
they're in. Like what does that word mean?
Earth something. Iwatsu.
I don't know what it means, but I know it's on a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Ah, fuck, I can't remember what it means.
I guess we're just clueless then. Rock door to a cave. Is that Clivesy?
Yeah.
Oh,
Iwa Ento. Yeah, it seems about right.
I don't see Apu's crew here, but what I meant when I said that was like when we first saw them teaming up in the first place during I think Pump Hazard is probably when we might have seen him, but I don't know.
I just found out something interesting. I'm gonna post a screenshot. Hang on.
Thanks,
Oh,
Dad.
my Discord's lagging. I'm trying to fucking post this Yu-Gi-Oh card.
I
Yo,
really
Yu-Gi-Oh
like
spoilers?
these number designs though. I really like them. The
Oh,
other ones,
that's
the others
cool.
are okay too, but these three.
Yeah, I didn't
The
know that.
Iwato scale, as Amigo scale is.
Ooh,
I don't
that's
know if
cool. I wonder that's
I don't know if
invisible.
Oda's.
It has no third or sixth notes. Isn't this 3, 6 numbers here?
Apu needs to brush up
It
on his
is
music
used
theory.
in traditional Japanese music for the koto. It is a mode of the Hirajoshi scale.
Interesting.
I'm doing a little Oda fanboying. I think that's a cool room that they're in. It's really
Yeah.
doesn't mean much. But, that's cool.
So
well, we
this
won't be
is
doing Oda fanboy in a bit, though. I'll say that. But...
yeah, that'll just be like a little Easter egg for them.
Oh no. All right.
So yeah, Jake is like, I'm speechless. You think I trust you? Trust got nothing to do with it. It's mutually beneficial arrangement. That sums up Apu to me. Like
Yep.
I think I don't know. I know everyone hates him, and yeah, you're not supposed to like him. But
He's the best. He's
I
the best.
like
Fuck everyone.
I like his character. How he just it's no bullshit. Like it's not like he ever promised his loyalty or like.
Dude, he's fucking
anything.
Jack
He's just
Sparrow out here,
does
bro.
this.
He's
Yeah,
just Jack Sparrow.
doing whatever works for him best. He doesn't have any like conception of that.
Yep.
Yeah, he's definitely way overhated. Opportunist is a good word.
Love him.
Again, these numbers. I'm so happy seeing that. That was honestly like my favorite part of the chapter was seeing Indy.
Yeah, this scene in general was the best part of the
Yeah.
chapter for me.
Same.
Yeah,
Well,
this development
not
is awesome.
not this scene for me, but
The only good part of the chapter, I should say.
shut the fuck
Yeah.
up.
All right.
Only good part of the chapter.
Yeah, but anybody else got anything else to say about that part?
No, we should probably move on.
Nothing just fan.
Well, I just want to reiterate. I do not think that Drake's gonna go through with it. I think that or Apu will betray Drake if he does. Like
Yeah,
already, like
I'm
'cause Apu's
really down
fucking
the middle.
slimy.
He's slimy, yeah. I'm in the middle on
He
it.
would
I
probably-
can't really tell.
It'd be like a situation where like, in Apu's ideal situation, right? What he's thinking about is like, okay, we swoop in, Drake helps me. When we're done, I crush him and leave. And that's I guess what I would imagine Apu is thinking about this deal.
Yeah, potentially.
Just
Or-
something like that.
It's hard to say, really, though, because like Drake wouldn't be in the position that like the Straw Hats would be. The Straw Hats are probably going to be more beat up than Drake and Apu themselves are by the end of this if they do team up here. So like it's not the same situation where he's taken out the winning side while they're on their last legs already, because Drake wouldn't be in that position. So I don't know if he'd just take him out and then swoop. That might be more detrimental of an opportunity to take. I don't know.
It would definitely be the risky one for sure.
Yeah. It'd be a higher risk than anything else, probably.
Yeah, perhaps, or maybe he just runs and leaves. I don't know. I don't know what he would. It's like, honestly, like these guys look intimidating and everything, and Apu's cooking up a good scheme here. But like, what exactly is he planning on doing?
What if
Swoop in and
Apu's the one?
steal victory at the last moment.
What if
Just, like,
Apu's the one that
Apu
takes
kidnaps-
Robin, bro?
He kidnaps Robin. He gets all the fucking poneglyph rubbings. Like,
He
all the
literally
treasure.
becomes Pirate King.
You know what? I feel like his end game is legit just leaving Wano and not having Kaido on his ass after. At this point, which is interesting because we still have like the government ships coming on, and he doesn't
Yeah.
know that yet. So his whole plan could go up in smoke with him trying some shit and CP0 actually shutting him down.
But I also don't think he's as worried about CP0 as he was with Kaido. Like Kaido and Big Mom are like extremely like more intimidating enemies basically, and more like oppressive figures in the new world than I feel like CP0 would be. So like I feel like
Infinitely.
he'd take on the CP0 group like head on, but he would not do that with a Yonko type of
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Because CP0 is a group that he can actually conceivably beat to some degree. You know, they're not the fucking rulers of the new world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And while like
agree.
Lucci and them are like potentially a lot stronger now, even then, so is Apu
Yeah.
than he was
and
back then.
even considering that, they pale in comparison to fucking Big Mom.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Likely so. We don't know for sure, but like, I mean, like, let's be
That's
honest, it's Big Mom.
that's also something to note. He only mentions Kaido, but what
Does
about
he?
Big Mom? Yeah, I'm pretty sure, right?
Um. Oh, okay,
He's
yeah.
talking about
Whether you
Kaido.
want to take Kaido down on Papa, yeah.
Instead of let's take down Big Mom and make Kaido like the king, it's let's take
Foreshadowing that
down
Big
Kaido.
Mom's gonna make it out of this arc.
I don't know.
I
We
think
can
she
talk
will.
about that later, because
Yeah.
True,
But
true, true.
that's I like what Kunta brought up, because that whole thing has kind of not been talked about much. Like, Drake is supposed to be a marine, and it's like he just trashed that poor village in the
no, it's
middle of
pretty on
nowhere.
brand.
I mean, there were like 5 people there plus Tama. It wasn't much of a village.
I
No,
guess, but
that's
it's like,
pretty on brand. I mean, he
I-
is a marine. That's kind of the shit they do, honestly.
I don't know about that.
Anyway, we probably, there's nothing else we want to say about this, right? Like,
Yeah, I think we're
No,
good
we
here.
should probably get to the most
Oh, I'm done.
controversial part
Yeah.
of this chapter.
Hmm. Well,
so this is Fortrix. Am I remembering his name correctly?
Yeah.
No, this
Fortrix.
is
this is
Hamlet.
Hamlet.
Okay.
Fortrix is
Alright,
the chicken.
Fortrix
Fortrix
was
is the chicken.
right.
Yeah, they were introduced together. I get them confused.
Hamlet, Gazelle, Man, whatever the fuck.
And Horsalina, as they translate it.
I like Horsalina. I think that's a funny name.
It's just a little too verbose for me.
Where's Mario?
Anyway, so the fire's getting like significantly bad at this point.
Mm-hmm.
People are actively having to avoid that fire that Orochi set, right?
Nami's not doing anything.
Not yet, anyway.
It's weird. They really do. I was in a conversation about this earlier. They really do have a lot of people who could deal with this fire situation, though.
Jinbei,
It's just
well, he needs a source of water to do that. Like,
Nami can literally create water out of thin air.
Nami can create water. I think those two will be the ones to do it, right?
Even better.
Although I wonder how
Zeus-
how much use that would be. Like she has to create the clouds first, and then there's a roof on the
Well, she can make
fucking
him
castle.
inside. I would.
Yeah, but that would that affect the walls and shit? It's like hard to, I don't know.
No, she would just rain
Hard for
out
me
the
to imagine.
inside. She would just like flood out the inside, really. At the very least, she could
Flooded.
keep like one area unburned.
The idea that's like in my
Yeah.
head about that is like Nami creating a big storm cloud and like rain, and Jinbei is kind of like diverting that
That would
into
be
a fire
cool.
hose. You know what
The
I
same
be
way that
sick.
Marco like put fire on the entire floor at once.
mean? Yeah.
Sure.
Similar vein, like Jinbei's gonna be spreading the water everywhere.
Yeah.
Also, remember that fucking ice machine thing they made at Thriller Bark? Just do that again.
I don't.
remember that. Yeah.
They freeze ores so that Zoro can slice it without him moving. Like they use
Right.
Nami uses rain to make him like wet, and then they freeze him up with cold air, like that Frankie made on the fly.
Dude, a lot of Frankie's shit in that arc was so fucking weird. Oh
Yeah,
my
Remember that
God.
staircase he made out of nowhere? That's
Dude,
probably
when
not really
Frankie-
off topic, but
Frankie
yeah.
first got introduced, like he just had so much weird shit up his sleeve. Like he would like doing Kuda Boo and all that, and then like Fortniting up the fucking.
Oh my god, dude, that was the best thing ever.
A build battle.
He was just making shit on the fly for ores because it wasn't just the stairs. He also made like a splint or something. He made like the thing that straightened his spine. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
remember that.
The centaur too. Yeah, that's
but-
goofy, man.
All right, let's get back to the
Speaking of,
chapter though.
speaking of centaurs, Kinnemon's legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just cut
yeah.
to the chase here.
I don't think that's Kinemon. I think it's actually just a yokai. Like,
Yeah, it has to. Like they're wearing the same clothes and all, but like that's probably where Kinemon got the idea for the clothes design from with his fruit.
I
from
mean,
the
Big
yokai
Mom
on the
obviously
island.
just hit it with the soul fruit before this happened, right? I mean,
True. And like technically he's not living, so it is an inanimate object, right?
it's
So,
true. It's true.
I do want to say, like, I'll just, I'm not really happy that Kinemon is like that. I want to put it delicately because it's what I'm not happy
say it.
is that last scene with Kinemon, I feel loses a little bit of something from
A little.
this. But I feel like the way that he survived is probably the best way that Oda could have had him actually be up.
So
and-
I don't
and
agree.
alive.
I don't agree either.
We have seen many instances in this series of someone taking a stab wound to the gut, which it was a stab wound at first. For some reason, it's not now. But we've seen many instances in the series where someone takes a stab wound to the gut and they get up through sheer determination. And I wanted, if he did get up, I wanted it to be that, where he's like on his last legs and then he does die later on. Again, he just does like one last thing or something. And it still leads to his death. But here it's like some weird convoluted like exceedingly convenient like situation that allows him to just not have been killed in that instance. I buy it less than just if he got up after a stab wound, but instead it was cut in half and it was some weird law shit. We've never been like led to believe that he could be unattached again once the plate pieces were put together properly. Like there's nothing that was hinting at that prior to this, which is also an issue I have. Like with Sanji's stuff, like his body was mentioned to have been feeling weird for like 4 chapters, and then he survived like a potentially killing blow with the genes awakening, which we had all predicted at that time after he said his body felt weird. But in this instance, there's nothing leading up to this that leads us to like suspend our disbelief in this instance. I feel like,
Well,
in my
I think
opinion.
it suspends my disbelief because it's a callback to something that happened, hundreds of chapters ago, and it's something that's relatively defined. It's like an ability of somebody else.
But
That
it's
like
never been
allowed this.
portrayed to be able to do this.
He's still like
And
gruesomely wounded, as you can see, but like his body's separated and he's awake and his legs are able to move around, right? But he's still like gushing blood out of the.
So do you
fucking
think
top of
that
his
stab
legs.
wound was equally as effective as if he didn't separate his body? He made it pretty clear that like the reason he survived is because his body split in half.
no, it
So it's
wasn't
not like
because of that. I've actually got a bit to say for this. So
Mhm.
Kaido stabs him, and then he realizes he can separate his body. He still has the wound. The lower legs is just for Kiku. He's not like saving his life with this. That's just like desperation on his part. I imagine he maybe saw Kiku alive and thought, okay, I have to go do this. And his legs just kind of ran away from him. But as we can see, just like you said, Kaido did stab him. It didn't like separate him harmlessly or anything. That was still a huge wound. And even
No, it said,
Usopp,
I still can't believe it. I survived being severed in two. And then he explains
yeah,
because Laudano didn't put him together properly.
that the Severin in 2 was actually apparently a mistranslation
So
from
what's
what
the
I've seen.
exact one?
I'm not sure. But I was thinking he was referencing like law about the being severed in two, but not that Kaido had just done it. Because Kaido only stabs him down, and like we see
I
him
can't imagine that.
whole.
I don't believe that.
I can't imagine he would refer to law when he's saying, "I can't believe this." He's
I can't
talking
believe
about
I
race
survived law splitting me in two or something like that.
Yeah,
Doesn't.
because that's already long established. I don't know. I think he's like, I mean, he's still wounded.
I mean,
don't really know.
Kaido doesn't split him in two is the thing.
Yeah,
Like
I
it's
know.
not a
That's
slice.
that's
It's
why the translation is odd a little bit because it's
yeah.
not like
That's
it's
why
not
I
like a
figured
cut
it
in
was.
half. It's like I just stabbed you in the middle of your torso.
Yeah, and it looks like Kinemon's
Yeah.
torso just ran away, and it's not like he
Yeah, like
stabbed air because like he is bleeding bad. Like
Yeah,
it's a
was Mip
bad
on? Did he
injury.
ever tell us what the proper translation
Yeah,
was?
what Rokaya said is basically like how I would imagine it. Like he's still hurt. I think Mip is asleep, by the way.
Okay.
Or maybe he's not. Actually, he's on.
He's on mine.
Yeah, it's weird. I feel this one I actually can excuse more. Is what I was about to get into. Is like I can excuse that more than the prospect of Kiku getting back up. I think Kiku's wounds are just fucking too grievous to be even still conscious at this point.
I don't agree. What was more grievous about them?
Losing an arm, being stabbed.
But
So
that was
like,
seared shut, so that's like there's no bleeding coming from that anymore.
I know, but that's already
To be
lost
fair,
a significant amount of blood before being held. I mean, it's a little too technical. Like maybe I shouldn't think about it that hard, but
Well,
Hiku,
don't just. It's
she
not
took some
just.
fucking crazy goddamn wounds on top of just like battle fatigue and everything. Like, why is she, savable right now?
Tanjiro's been through more than her.
Yeah, and Kanjuro just died.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
he's
I
still
meant
alive.
Kinemon. I meant Kinemon.
Oh,
Apologies.
Kinemon. I mean,
Kanjo's still
He's
alive.
taken more. Kanjiro's also still alive.
Yeah.
That's also a thing.
I mean, he just died is what I mean. Like, he is dead. This
I don't.
here,
No,
I don't
he's
know if
still
he
alive.
is.
dude.
The devil
I
fruit
find it
would
hard to
still
believe
be
it.
I mean,
going if
he
he
did.
wasn't
He
maybe
did the
still alive.
flitter. I
maybe-
think was the thing coming out of him.
Maybe I'm just a fucking dummy to believe that this actually is the last thing he does. But I mean, come on. Like, how is
I
it
mean,
not the last thing
if
he
his
does?
fruit, I'm sure it is the last thing he does. It's just this is him holding on for dear life while he does it. This is like his
Oh,
suicide.
like maybe he's not like technically dead, but
Yeah,
I just
that's
meant
like he falls down
There-
I
unconscious.
just meant
It
like
looks like
it's
so. It looks
like
like yeah.
solidified that he is dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's going to die for sure. I just think
Yeah.
it's too convenient that both Kinemon and Kanjuro are currently conscious right next to each other as like ex-best friends, so to speak. I think they're going to exchange words before of them die. And I do hope Kinemon does die here. Like if this is just him, his legs getting up to be able to speak to someone through his farts to tell them like what's up and then he dies afterwards, I would be a lot more okay with this situation, but I'm worried that somehow he's going to reattach and then survive longer through a lot more, and then this is what causes it.
Speaking entirely, there's one thing that would make this a lot more acceptable, and
Mhm.
I just think like anatomically or
It's gonna be a meme.
in terms of anatomy and he should like those farts should be kind of bloody and he should be having trouble speaking there
Mhm.
because his
my
insides
lord.
His
are
vocal
so
cords in his
fucked up.
asshole should be having issues.
Like, he's talking kind of fine with those farts, and I just think that really takes me out of the scene, dude. I don't know.
I agree. I agree.
It,
Like they were way too
depend.
illegible.
It does depend on where exactly he got stabbed. To be fair,
I thought you were gonna say like where within his rectum he was farting from.
Oh God.
yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at. You know? I mean, if it's a sigmoid colon, it's one thing. If it's, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Um,
Oh,
I just want to say I completely called Kinemon basically doing all he can to save Kiku, although this is not how I imagined it whatsoever. Because obviously
Yeah.
there wasn't really any hinting that his body was going to fucking split in half.
yeah,
Unless someone has a panel of
exactly.
foreshadowing of that, like Kinemon being like, "Oh, I don't feel right," or "Oh, my hips hurt," or some shit.
We should
Because
talk
there
about
isn't a single thing. There isn't a single thing.
yeah, so
and that is, and it's not unfair. Like it's not like we were told he is fully back together. He's not gonna come apart. It's not like we were told lost powers aren't on him anymore. That's
Yeah.
fair. But not having
need to show us that, though.
confirmation that this can't happen isn't approval that it's okay that it does happen.
Yeah. So actually me and Adam I think both had a similar take about this where like if it was separated like this and it could come off like in an instance. So let's say it hadn't changed from how Sanji was like rearranging his face even though it's the correct pieces together. It can still be separated in that same way. Sanji was just like pulling him apart with his regular hands and shit. Technically speaking, if he like took a punch to his face, the top of his body should fall off if it's not reattached properly. So there should have been like a gag somewhere along the way where something like that might have happened.
Oh, Red, it's even
And it
worse than
showed
that.
that.
It's way worse than that. I actually talked about this in also manga earlier.
Yeah.
They had to put his face together.
Yeah.
The moment Kaido slammed his club down, Kinemon's face
True.
should have covered the entire room at once.
True.
Oh,
And-
just one thing to bring up. A little meta, but it just the idea that Kinemon may not fully understand how Law's power works here. So his comment maybe isn't like
It's not.
I
It's
mean,
not that. Like, it's okay if he doesn't know it. That's perfectly.
Oda
fine.
speaking,
I don't
though.
expect
I
him.
know, yeah. Like it's not something I really take super seriously. But I basically just think someone else was saying in chat too. But I just think like the cut there was enough that like what happened with Law was was like reawakened, if that makes sense. Like that whole
No.
thing was, affected by this stab. So
It's
Uh,
just too much of a
I
reach
want
for me,
to.
man. It's like too much. It's just too much for me.
No, I do have a comment about that, Fats, but it's about 2 pages later, so I want to get to the next couple of pages before we comment about that directly. But that is a good point. I wanted to address that for you. And on this next page, we have a Kinemon bleeding all over Usopp, which I actually didn't notice before.
However, yeah. Oh yeah, what I want to talk
Yeah.
about here as well. That's we're talking about Kinemon. Obviously, that's what everybody's talking about. But
Mm.
what's going on also here is exposition for Usopp to do fucking shit on his own and like do something.
Yes.
Hey, he still has Hamlet with him though, not on his own. He's got Hamlet.
Okay, yeah.
And he has Kinemon. I don't know if anyone notices. Kinemon's legs attached to the side of Hamlet, and they're
Yeah.
running away like that.
Yep. Yep.
Dude,
That's funny.
that giraffe must like picture being that giraffe. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I have like a dude on my head now. There's like another fucking set of legs coming out of my fucking back.
Do you think his giraffe has consciousness? Like,
They seem
Hamlet
to-
is the head.
The gifters, their animals seem to be sentient.
They do like on and off, but not when it's just like limbs, though.
Yeah, like Daifugo, I don't think he has like a gifter with a brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's only when they actually
Yeah,
have the
that's-
brain that it
that's true.
seems like.
Some of them though, so like I would imagine maybe it's not the case. I don't know. Might not be the case for everybody. You are right about that. But
It's still honestly really fucking weird to see the way Hamlet is, because he can't not look up. It looks like. How sad is that as a life for a devil fruit?
Well, it's because he's
Nah,
running so fast, bro.
No, he can look down. His introduction, he was looking down on Sanji.
No, I mean like while he's running, his face is just back.
Yeah, like the neck can't support
okay.
the weight of his body, so.
Oh,
it goes
okay, I see.
backwards.
I see.
it's like that. But it also just makes Hamlet look like like really extravagant. He's like, yes, look at me. Like,
Yeah. Exactly.
fucking, he's like Cavendish, except like even way more delusional about like looking cool or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
But going back to the Kinemon thing, I want to say, if
Well,
there's like
next
an
page
instance,
says-
if there's an instance where like this attack that Kaido did actually damage him, and he's like still on his deathbed, and like he does die later, but he just wanted to contact people to help Kiku, that's okay with me, kind of. Like I don't think it's good, and I still think it's bad, but I think I would be more okay with it if he did end up dying, and that was just his like last effort with his legs to contact people. But if he ends up surviving till the end of this arc because of this, I swear to fucking God, that is like a 0 out of 10. Like, that is a 0 out of 10 character.
I
Like
don't know
fake
about
out.
character, but yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Character fake out. That's.
Yeah.
I know I defend this vehemently. I will spew venom at anyone saying it. The whole will of P. Oda doesn't kill people.
Mm.
I hate that shit. I really can't back this one up though. If Kinemon doesn't end up dying, like even for me, this one's elite, man. Like
Yeah.
Kaido came in, he had the whole ass death scene. He had Momonosuke crying about him. He had fucking Kiku dying, Kanjuro dying. Just it really should have been. Eventually, he dies. He kind of looks lively here.
I wouldn't say he looks lively at all.
He's not moving or anything, but he's kind of thinking not in a "these are my last words." Sort of.
Yeah. Like, I feel like he should have said something like that. But at the same time, him asking for help could potentially be like him recognizing that these are his last words and he can't help himself. So he's having someone else come and help Kiku, and he's not having anyone come help him. He's having people help Kiku, who's literally right next to him.
Yeah.
So it's like
yeah.
maybe there's a chance that this is just him trying to help Kiku, and then he will pass on
So
afterwards.
that leads me to my next question, right? So Kinemon comes and he's like, I have a request. We don't hear the request, and then we seemingly understand that Usopp is or at least you would you would think that Usopp is going to go and
Yeah.
go up to Kiku. So what is Usopp gonna do here? Does anyone have an idea of what that would be?
Toad oil.
Right.
Bro, he
If
fucking
that
might,
ends up
but also
happening-
like, I mean, I think he's gonna end up either fighting the fire specter, or he's gonna fight Page One again, and who
You
knows?
think Page One's getting back up?
I would
He
be
might.
surprised.
Dude, I mean, look at this chapter, man. Everybody and their dog and their
Is
fucking
getting
dog's
back up, bro.
fleas are getting back up, man.
So
Alright, alright, alright.
no,
Wait, wait, wait,
I
wait.
said this is a
Two
joke.
people.
I said this is a joke somewhat before, but I was serious. He said that he himself took out Page One and his sister. I forgot the name of already.
Ulti.
Yeah. But he didn't, and his lies come true.
Did he say it? Didn't
He did.
Wasn't it what's her face who announced it? Balhong?
No, he was no. He was when
Usopp
he
said
was
it.
walking through the halls. He was like, "I'm the one that defeated these people."
Oh, the
He's like being like
controversial-
pompous about it.
And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Like his fake like tails again and shit. So
Right.
like his lies do not always obviously, but his lies often do come true. That could actually happen, like jokes aside.
I can't get over this, man. Like this fucking scene.
The
You know, like
Kinemon.
you like let's think about this on paper. Like Kinemon is like on death's door, and he musters up his last bit of energy to beg for some help. But and you can say that, and that's what happened, right? But what it actually looks like is his fucking torso running around at random, and he's farting out a request to Usopp. Fucking- and dude, it's just it's so Oda, man. I don't know. It's insane.
It's like
crazy.
I appreciate the comedy of it, but I can't appreciate the comedy of it because I just hate it. And I
But my thing is like I just don't like the fake out. Like
it's so,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm,
that's the
I'm
issue.
okay with like him being up. I'm okay with like what's going like this whole scene like or even Kinemon surviving to the end of the raid. Like that's
Hmm.
all fine with me. But like don't man like we didn't have to have that super emotional like death fake out, man. Come on.
Yeah, and like that like inspired Momo in a way as well. And it was like
It can
that's
still inspire Momo
it
like
can
as
still
as
inspire
it stands,
him,
but for
but
the
it like
reader
seemed
it,
like it was a
for,
purposeful
for
death.
the reader it takes a little bit away. A little bit.
And like it
It's
would have
a
been
little
I don't
tiring.
I'm not
It's a
even
little
like
tiring.
I'm not even a huge like fake outs can work in
Most
One
of them
Piece.
are fine. Most of them are fine.
Yeah.
to me.
It's just
the vast
the lack
majority.
of it's just the lack of
but-
build up to like the reasoning for it for me is the issue. Like some random thing from 400 chapters ago that like every fan basically had assumed that basically there's probably like a 0.001% chance of people that predicted this and are like, "Oh my god, I'm the best." But like
Yeah,
every fan
I
had probably
predicted this
assumed that they were
totally.
put back together properly.
It's true.
and,
I
like,
am
that's
the
that.
0.01%.
You were not. Shut the fuck
Oh
up.
no!
You
I said
you
it.
thought he
I
died
said it.
there.
I said it just the last podcast. I said, you know, Law's ability from 400 chapters ago will be the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah,
I think you of all four of us were more like steadfast in him being dead than anyone here.
I think I was
wasn't
more
like
anyone about him being dead.
not like
Dead
theory
or
wise,
dying.
but I really wanted him to be dead. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I thought that
It
was like
was a
such a
better
cool way to go out,
choice.
man. It was a cool way
It
to
was
go
a
out.
fantastic fucking death scene.
Yeah, and I didn't even think he was gonna die, but I still am upset because I don't like how it happened. It's
we're
like-
okay, we
Yeah,
gotta do
I'm
something.
honestly just this next page here. This is the one we've been like talking about, where we see him actually getting cut in half and all that. I was really okay with him surviving. I would have preferred him dying just because awesome death scene.
Mhm.
I don't like that it was this way. And we're really going to get into the meat of like the most controversial fucking part of the chapter here.
I want to say
but-
like on the
What?
the 4 panels thing. Yeah, I know his death was like relatively brief, but I think not every character needs a glamorous death like that. And the way that scene came across was like an inevitability and just dying in battle. That kind of whole vibe for me really I liked that. And it's not typical for One Piece that happens. You know, most people do get like a fucking spectacular send off.
Mhm.
But I like to see that stuff. Like it's cool when somebody. I mean, I can go back to Pound, but it was like Pound, died without like anybody. His daughters didn't know who he was, all that stuff, and it was just like it happened,
Mhm.
and it wasn't some fucking magnificent thing, and he just was out. And
Yeah,
that
but
that
that was
that,
like a
that was
side
cool.
character, which was like awesome. But like Kinemon is
Kinemon is
probably
a
the
main
most
character.
important. Yeah, he's probably the most important of the scabbards for the
Yeah.
story,
Easily.
besides like Momo in some
He
respect.
is literally the most important samurai in this story, besides maybe Odin.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so people saying he didn't die there, it's like, yeah, you're absolutely right to think that. Before this chapter, obviously.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of like the emotional moments in One Piece, and I feel like this arc hadn't given much to me for that. So I was hoping that Kinemon would get something like that, and that's like part of the reason why I didn't think he would be dead, because that's like a One Piece thing to do, to have that glamorous death. But like it's just the way it happened, man.
I think.
Can't.
Do we have any more coping, or?
Yeah, I actually have something to say about this one.
Okay.
Back to the topic of like how he discovers that Law's power was fucking up. We see that Kaido stabbed that sword in like halfway into the ground, right?
Mhm.
I honestly figured maybe he just tried to crawl over to Kiku and couldn't get past the sword, and then his legs just popped off. I'd be okay with that.
But then it's like, I can't believe I survived being severed in two. I can't believe Law on his
Mip just-
ability.
uh,
blah, blah,
Mip,
blah.
Mip just
Oh, he finally did. Itunes surprised. Yes.
He said perhaps. He said perhaps. It's not 100%. It's not 100%.
Itunes
Dude.
surprised.
Perhaps. Oda's
Are you
absolved.
kidding me,
Oda's
Pat?
absolved of all guilt. He said perhaps, dude.
So yeah,
No. It's
surprised to see that I'm still alive after my torso has been severed. So yeah, the issue is still there in that wording. So
yeah. Well, the
Well.
issue was Law
Kinemon is not a,
reattaching. It
Kinemon's
wasn't
not
just
a-
like the body.
Not a trustworthy narrator. He doesn't understand Law's ability himself.
No, it's true. He didn't. He
just,
never
maybe
confirmed.
he just is so strong that it wasn't even Law's ability. He just fucking.
Well, facts.
is walking
He
around
did
with that.
never confirm that this was a thing. To be fair, like to Oda, we all just kind of assumed he was in One Piece because he's been through some
but
horrific.
that's not
Well,
that's
yeah,
not the
why
issue.
would you? Yeah, no.
No,
Like
let me
like
finish. Let me finish. We did assume that like this wasn't gonna be a thing, but he did go through some horrific shit. This wasn't Kaido's first hit on him. He had an extended fight where he got the shit beat out of him. He almost died to Kaido already. And then it happens again. And now we get the legs. Not even because of Kaido's real influence, besides the stab. Not because he like hit him so hard some shit went flying. It just popped off. That's my only problem with it. Not even that it was this power, it's that Kinemon's been through 2-3 arcs now. Getting
Now it pops off.
yeah.
There like literally could have been
It's a big
completely
sword.
alleviated
It's a big
if
sword,
it was
bro.
just like in one of the previous arcs he got punched by someone and his body fell off and he's like, oh whoops, gotta put that back on, and then like it's that, and like that would have given me the reason to believe.
At least
be okay
his
with this
face,
a little
if
bit
not
more.
his body. It didn't even have to be like
Yeah,
the
at least his face.
bisection. At least his face, yeah.
I don't
But-
know. I don't think that works. But it's
I mean-
it's a big sword.
It doesn't have to be a cut because Sanji was taking his face apart and putting it back together without cutting him. He was just ripping pieces off and putting them back on. So
Isn't
a
it-
punch would have been enough.
Yeah, because at that point he wasn't put back together by Law, right? So that's the situation, right? Like he has been put back together by Law, and like what is being put on us is like, okay.
I don't
maybe
think
he
Law
didn't
ever
put it back together.
put him back
Yeah,
together.
it wasn't Law. It's just a bad translation.
Yeah, that was actually a translation error. He just said, I suppose, like I wasn't put back together after Law's ability or some shit.
Oh,
properly. So it wasn't even
let
Law.
it be known it was fucking Sanji's fuck up that makes
That
his
makes this a
body
bad chapter.
make this happen. Yeah, yeah, dude. Blame Sanji, bros. Zoro would never
Longy.
do this. Zoro would never do this, bros.
God damn.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
okay,
If anything, Wanji for like the storytelling side of things, but for like the actual chapter content, man, Longy, man, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
dude, what the
Goddamn.
hell? Okay, I'm just kidding.
But
Alright,
the
jokes
other
aside.
second biggest part of this arc is the next page here, right?
The
uh,
fire, right?
Conjuro,
Yeah, Kinemon notices that Kanjuro's actually still alive when he thought he was dead, which is also interesting to me.
man,
I like this dialogue before we get on to that part.
I was just about to say that. I love
Yeah, Kanjuro.
getting the fucking Kurozumi plot thread addressed in like any way. It feels like we haven't
Mhm.
talked about it much throughout the arc, but it's like a main driver motivation for Kanjuro and Orochi, right? And he's talking about this shit. It's like
Not even Conjuro, just Orochi. And like in this case, Conjuro is like looking for some form of what's the word for it?
it's like did I
Validation.
do good? Yeah,
Validation, yeah. And he's like for me, and like that's the only thing he says here basically, besides that last part where he says my final suicide pact or whatever. And like that kind of hits.
This is
There's like some
characterizing
emotion.
Orochi in a really cool way. I love how I mean Orochi, like just to skip ahead a little bit. When we see Orochi, he's like sitting there like giggling and picking his nose about this shit afterwards, right? Kanjuro is on his deathbed,
He doesn't give a fuck about
has
Conjuro.
served him this entire time, and he still manipulates him. That's
Mhm.
Can you hear the cheers that is fired into here for me? And he's like, indeed, indeed, but I'm not happy yet. And he goes on about the Kurozumi shit, and he's like, you need to do more. And yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
I thought that was really good for both of them. Kanjuro showing how he just had a fucking twisted and fucked up childhood and has been manipulated by Orochi, and Orochi just showing his true colors like again. There's
Yeah.
no pity about like his experience with Kurozumi at this point, right? Because even his like ally and his like most trusted confidant basically is being manipulated on his deathbed for
Mhm.
this stuff. Very good stuff. And the plot thread has kind of not been addressed in a little while, so it was just good to see that rear its head again.
And going beyond that, I feel
I
like this fire thing is a bit weird as well.
Really?
I wanted to tack on to what Fat said real fast though.
Okay.
I like that I like that the way Orochi influences Conjuro is saying there's one last person who can't fully appreciate your performance. And then Conjuro gets the whole, okay, let me do it with the suicide pact. We got this.
Mm.
I just think it was a nice nod to the whole Conjuro only wanted to find his perfect role and then he could die. And I
Yeah.
feel like 100% applause was all he was really looking for.
He's just going all in on the act.
Yeah, yeah. This is the last big act of his. The last big scene.
I like this though. This is a great actually among the three people in this room, right? The 3
Mhm.
like dying people. Conjuro's is the best that for me. I really like this. Orochi one last thing, and he creates a fucking gigantic monster out of fire.
The fire version of the Umibozu.
It looks cool. It's poetic. You know, it's good. This is like no problems with this in any way. Just because a lot of people have had problems with like some of the people in that room this chapter. Just want to put that out there. It's like this was really cool, and I love that like Conjuro's like that it's what it is. It's like I can't. It's he's like embodying and conjuring up the hate of the Kurozumi and like this fucking big fire demon and sending it down to
Yeah, like
try and
he's
kill literally
incarnating.
everybody. Everybody doesn't matter who's there, Kozuki or not.
Mm.
It's just destroy everything, right?
Yeah.
Really cool.
He basically
really
But
just
how does
made
that
the,
work? How does that work? I want an understanding of this.
He
So
drew it.
can he just he drew it. But like I always imagined that his drawings had to be tangible things that like a painting could technically be, and like so he could create birds that could fly because of the wingspans and shit. Like when he created a dragon, the dragon wasn't flying. I guess that was like a shitty dragon, but like it climbed up with his arms instead. Things like that.
Well, he
Um,
created like those clouds that shot arrows, if I'm not mistaken.
they were like paint arrows though. It was all within like the confines of like something
Yeah,
paint
but
esque or like
it
coming to life.
still
But
hurt, right?
he created like a being. He created like something that can go through walls and
That was
burn
fire.
things by going through those walls. Yeah, but
I
it's like
figure
it's
all
like
he
going through
did-
as if it's a ghost.
Yeah, I figured
Yeah,
all
but
he did was just make a
fire,
really
if
light.
it was sentient or whatever, would be able to do that. I don't know.
No, a fire
I
wouldn't
don't
be able to
agree.
just like go through walls.
It
It'd
would
be
have to
burning the
burn through
walls.
them first, but they're actually
Yeah.
just like going through it without completely burning them. So it's like,
It's burning everything as it goes through it.
but they don't get like immediately like turned to ash and then he can go through afterwards. It's going through it and then they're on fire afterwards behind him. So it's
I
like
mean-
it's like actually going through it as if it's a ghost based on what we're
I mean,
seeing.
as long as he has like some concept to base it on, I feel like he can just like draw almost anything. So like
So
he,
that's where my issue lies though. Because if that's the case, can't he just like literally draw fucking Kaido or something? If he has a concept or understanding of like these beings or like something that he's drawing, can't he literally draw something as powerful as Kaido?
As powerful,
but
no.
but
He could draw something that looks like and can mimic Kaido's abilities to a degree, but not as powerful. No, with this isn't a power thing. He just made something ephemeral and ethereal that people can't really touch and stop, and it just happens to be on fire, which is something not many people can deal with.
Yeah, but it seems like it's like a perfect replica type thing almost.
Well, what I always thought was he just made like a thin ink cloud, and it's just kind of carrying the fire around.
It
That-
does
that's
look like
why I
a
put it.
blotch of ink. I will
Yeah,
say that.
I mean, because we see him like drawing the ink circle and all that, and the thing rises up from it. I figured maybe he just made the
I think
last
he
ink.
just stabbed the ground and like ink kind of splattered, and then it rose up in that shape of just like a blotch because of that. But it's just
That
so
sounds
weird
right.
to me
And what
that it can
Kunta's
like
saying
do
as
this.
well. It's like this is the last of his like that vengeance that Orochi is like putting into him for his act or whatever, right? Like that symbolically, I guess like that would be kind of what this is. I don't think
Mhm.
this thing's like powers or whatever are too crazy. It's just like a big blob of fire, which is, you know, I think like comparatively, like what he did when he first revealed himself was actually more intensive than this.
Yeah, this has
Basically
emotional
just like a big
impact.
blob of fire. You know what I mean?
It's not even like there are what 8 different people who could deal with this probably.
Could they? It's like a ghost fire thing though. It's not just fire.
Yeah, well, the ghost part is really too relevant to it. It's just the fire part that everyone's.
I think
To be fair,
I think part of it is like, well, we see him collapse and everything, but what I should have brought this up earlier, but what this reminds me of more than anything is his initial showing when he was portrayed as that formless blob of ink, and
yeah, that's what I was gonna bring up. This is what that reminded me of. Is
Where?
not?
Do you guys have an image of that? I don't remember.
Do you
Oh,
remember
what
during the flashback when Orochi first approaches Kanjuro and gives him the fruit? He looks like a blob.
yeah, he
Yeah.
looks like this. He looks like a blob of ink with the eyes, whatever.
I
So
don't
that's
remember.
why I'm like,
Yeah,
with
it's
that
because,
whole, like, this is the last of his will, you know, doing as Orochi commands, basically.
Mhm. Oh, okay, that.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, but I guess it's just
Oh,
weird to me.
that's just thematically, yeah. That's not, you know.
The issue
discount what you're saying, but-
yeah, the issue that comes from this for me is just like that he could have been doing a lot more. I don't think this had to be something that he can only use on his last breath. I don't think that's like a requirement for his fruit. So it's
Well,
weird that he
there's
never did
several-
anything. He never like conjured up some crazy monster to fight alongside him. He never created like a dragon that actually could shoot Boro breaths and shit alongside him or anything along those lines. He just like created a bird to fly away and then like created copies of other people that
well,
To
to
me,
be fair,
to me, this doesn't like suggest that he could make all kinds of other crazy fantastical shit. Like, yeah, he could do some, but like to the point of where you're talking about, like, yeah, draw up something that can just be like as strong as Kaido or whatever. I don't think this suggests that for me.
Even if it wasn't as strong as Kaido, like it would still, if he can draw this as a concept, just like because he has the concept of it, and it can go through walls as like an ethereal object and whatever the fuck, and like that's a magical property to that, which means that like he could probably create a dragon that can shoot Boro breaths out of his mouth, because that's also like a magical property type of thing.
I'm sure
And he
he
has a
could make a
concept of it.
dragon that could breathe fire, but that isn't nearly the same as breathing a Boro breath.
Why would it
Well,
the limit be fire?
I think Mammoth brings up a good
Well,
point.
because-
like the idea that this is probably not something that he's controlling outside of like that initial idea of like, oh yeah, go blow up the shit, like just go walk over there. You know what I mean? So
Maybe.
you could.
He
you
doesn't
could- you
control
could
anything, though.
You could take the I think he.
I think he is
pretty
controlling it
clearly-
though.
I think he
No,
pretty
they
clearly
have
controlled
autonomy.
The bird when he. Well, yeah, they have autonomy, but
Like I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure they
commanding it
can
outside of-
control it, but he doesn't actually control the shit he makes generally. Like he sends out messenger birds.
Well,
He
yeah.
He
just
completely
kinda makes
controlled the
shit.
Odin.
Not like mentally
Well,
control,
what
like
I'm-
taking control of it.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is like that's a reason to think that this is why he didn't create such fucking crazy things. If he was able to, that it's like if they.
But
go
even
too
then, I
far or
think
whatever.
he's controlling this because he's sending it to the basement. So he, like, in a way, he's giving it a command. It's not just like going around aimlessly per se. It's just
Yeah,
attacking
I'm sure
whatever's
he
in the
gave it
way
a
on the way to the
command.
basement.
Yeah, he probably like fell unconscious
I don't
as
know.
soon as he gave the command, though, too. But
Also,
this thing
I-
isn't
I
really
wanna
all that.
say-
Well, hang on one sec. This thing isn't
So I don't think
really
it's going to the
all-
basement either. Anyway,
You
It
don't?
has to. That's where
That's the entire
Orochi told him to blow up
No.
everything.
wait, he didn't tell. Yeah, he didn't even tell Conjuro to go to the basement or anything. That's not
Yeah, he
anywhere in the
does.
chapter. Where?
Let's see, where'd it go? Or did he say it later?
Yeah, he just says it to himself later. Because the fire is gonna eventually reach there anyway. He didn't tell
Oh, yeah,
Conjuro,
he
hey,
doesn't
bring your
want
shit
to
to the
create more
basement.
Bring it to
fire.
burn everything down. Yeah. So
Okay,
that's
you're right,
fine.
you're right,
Okay,
you're
yeah,
right.
you are right about that. Yeah.
In
so
that case, that's just fine. He's just let it
that's-
go,
yeah.
and it's gonna reach eventually. But what I was trying to say is this thing isn't really particularly like powerful or noteworthy. It's big and it's on fire. This isn't a big disaster, except for the fact that everyone who can deal with it is already either tired, half dead, or busy right now.
Yeah, so I said this earlier. I don't know if they would be able to deal with it. Like, what if it was a situation where they put out the fire, but the ghostly essence doesn't get taken out, and then fire sprouts from it again?
How could they not? It's just ink.
That won't happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
it's
no
able
way
to
they
go through
can't just
walls,
take
so
it out.
like, I don't know. Like, it could be like a
It is-
weird scenario, like because it can go through walls, so it's like it's showing like intangibility.
It's
Yeah.
ink,
So
though. If it can go through walls, it's probably just sliding through, like as ink. See, that's the thing. It does
It's
have a
going right through the
physical
walls. It's like
body.
some kind of ghost, and it's not like in that image. It's showing it coming through the wall.
We
not
can't really
sliding
see
through
like
anything.
behind the wall either, though. But my point is just, it's a massive ink. It shouldn't be that hard to actually deal with. It's just the people who can do it aren't there, and everyone else can't really hit ink or withstand fire.
Mhm.
So no one's
This will
gonna be able to
probably
get
be.
to it.
I don't know if this will be Yamato's job or Nami's job to deal with. By the way,
I mentioned that before in a chat. Usopp, Nami, Yamato, King, Zoro, Kinemon himself, if he's lucky as fuck. There are a lot of people who really can't deal with this.
no, I'm not saying like who can deal with it. I'm saying like who will deal with it.
It will be Yamato, yeah.
You think it'll be Yamato and not like Nami or something, who'd also be kind of.
I feel like it will be
Usopp
because
or
Yamato's
Yamato.
already on the way there, and she can use ice powers, so it's kind of perfect.
see, but that's just that's because you think it's going to the basement, but it's not going to the basement.
That's
So,
true.
like-
Because if he wasn't given the command to go to the basement, then it's probably just continuing to burn shit.
It's
And
probably gonna go just straight down from where it was.
So yeah, it's either Usopp deals with page
Yeah.
1, or he deals with this fire thing.
Usopp
I don't
So
think
take
dealing
Usopp
with
one.
can deal with this.
one.
He's all plants, bro. Usopp's all plants.
Bro,
No,
but the
Usopp
thing
could
is, like,
deal with this. He
Usopp
has
had
dials.
Usopp had Firestar on his plant island. I doubt Firestar worked on all those plants.
Dude, he's gonna shoot. No, it's fire. Plants,
So,
fire versus plants, bro.
I mean, fire.
bro, but this is
So a
fucking
lot
One
of plants
Piece.
are actually fireproof. Yeah. It's not going to be Usopp dealing with page 1. He's probably going to deal with this. I doubt page 1's going to get back up. If he is, it's not going to be fucking Usopp who puts him back down.
Nah, bro. He said he would.
Dealing with this either. I didn't get the impression he was sent to go deal with that thing.
Yeah.
He
If
was
anything,
he was
this
asked-
left.
he was
This
asked
left.
He's
before.
on the way. He's on the way to Kiku and Kinemon, and this thing originated from Kiku and Kinemon's position.
And has
So
already
it is
gone through
very
multiple
feasible.
walls and
It's
is
already
nowhere near.
moved, though.
Yeah.
But if it's moving down and then he's moving up, they could potentially cross paths on the way.
Could be a thing.
But, like,
he probably wouldn't stop to fight it either, though.
I just
I
didn't
think
get
it's
the
more likely
impression.
that there's a fight next to Kiku's body that Usopp has to deal with, or even if it's not a fight, just like some sort of conflict.
That'd be more reasonable, I feel, because there's no way he's gonna stop and kill that thing when Kinemon's begging him to save Kiku's life, unless, because this is the thing, Kinemon can just tell him to go deal with that instead.
He
mean, his
could,
ass
'cause
is
his
still
ass
right
is still
there.
there.
Yeah.
Well,
But no, because
Yeah.
then they're not rushing to get Kiku.
well,
anymore, at least word of-
Hamlet's
the
there. Hamlet can
priorities
go to
here.
Kiku, I guess. Hamlet would know.
Yeah.
Hamlet knows this castle better than fucking Usopp does, or Kinemon does, to
but
be honest.
Hamlet might not be able to help Kiku.
But also doesn't. So aren't.
I mean, I'm
um,
not sure Usopp can really help Kiku either, unless there's a
Aren't-
fucking plan up a sleeve.
Wouldn't Usopp and Nami be able to contact one another via Denden Mushi?
Yeah, they should be able to.
Do
So
they
like,
have one?
if they've
Yeah, they
shown
they
Denden Mushi a
contacted
couple
Frankie
times.
earlier. Yeah, they contacted Frankie
Yeah,
a few chapters
They
ago.
did.
Then yeah.
So I think it's possible that he does tell Usopp about it, but then Usopp tells someone else about it while Usopp goes to get Kiku. And I don't know if Yamato is gonna do it because like Adam said, it might not have gotten any sort of command to go to the basement. So I don't think Yamato is gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
I wouldn't
It's
assume
weird.
Hiyori has no medical abilities so quickly, Vic. I think I've been kind of thinking about Hiyori potentially having like a fruit or something that has some kind of restorative ability, but
She could. We don't know.
I mean, she just bandages people up. So like,
yeah,
yeah, they were
I
still
wouldn't
beat
even
the
call
fuck
it,
up.
Yeah, it's mostly just bandage. Yeah, I don't know. And that's
you
that's
got
like
she
Bandage
has
damage to me.
yeah, she got Red's fucking
Yeah, my
his his fan cannon fruit that he made.
fan cannon fruit, bro. Let's go, dude.
who
It's
else would,
finally canon.
who else would this Silhouette be? That's what I'm curious about. If you don't think it's Hiyori, I mean, we know it's not NL.
It's not
no, it is
Hawkins,
Hiyori.
unfortunately.
It is Hiyori.
Unfortunately, it's not Hawkins, huh, Adam?
Unfortunately.
Dude, you know
Oh
what's
my God.
unfortunate? These fucking
Unfortunate.
flower capital people are fucking blind and
It's
deaf.
behind the clouds.
Dude, it was not behind the clouds the other chapter.
It
like,
was.
fucking
It was still
right
behind the
there,
clouds.
dude.
No, it would
They
show the clouds
split
and then
the
it would zoom in more.
They split the goddamn whole
The sky above Onigashima, not below Onigashima.
Did. Okay.
There were clouds below Onigashima. We saw the clouds above Onigashima get split.
All right.
Wait, what are you
CP0
saying?
CP0 is on the move with one person missing as well during this fucking fire.
Yeah, I actually really like that panel that they had of them just like, sort of like menacingly just standing there.
Yeah, they're just like walking slowly down the hallway or whatever.
Yeah, and right after we saw Robin and Brooke kind of implying a confrontation between the two parties.
Let's get out of there, and then oh, here they come, dude. I can't wait to have one of their fucking abilities revealed. These masked guys, like, holy shit, it's been so long.
Just anything, bro. I mean, I don't even know if they're gonna have abilities. They might just fight with,
Haki and like
yeah.
the six powers and shit like
six
that.
powers. Yeah. Rokushiki.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yep.
one of them, right? Or is that the whole name?
I don't remember.
That's
It's
the whole thing.
the whole thing.
Rokushiki's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Roku Ogun is the one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was thinking of. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we see this. We get a quick little montage. Marco, dashing around.
Still fighting. So he's
Izo.
not like out for the count like it seemed he was when Izo saved him.
He's either just like running away or he's in an action panel, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love this panel of Kawamatsu, by the way. I don't know why that one stuck out to me so much, but he's just,
Yeah, I love
he's
this
the
one
best.
of Sanji. I don't know why that one stuck out to me so much.
Okay.
He's back to fighting though. That's actually something substantial. He's back to actually kicking Queen instead of running.
Yeah, Queen
that's a
must have
development.
just caught up to him.
Yeah, and he like had to fight back. He does
He's,
still
like,
look kind of
having
distraught
to
with his
fight.
face.
I think he's probably gonna be like continuously trying to escape, but Queen is just like chasing him down too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this Kaido panel. Looks like he's fucking at the dentist or some shit.
He just shot a Boro breath out of his human mouth.
Yeah, dude, Kaido is too cool, man. I don't know.
I want to point out something as well. Luffy is in his Gear 4 stance in normal form. You could argue that's Gear 2nd, but he usually doesn't have that hand hawkified if it is Gear 2nd.
That art indicator that we're seeing here, the one that's completely different from the other art indicators, by the way, is probably meaning to represent the cockting.
You're not really
what
saying
do you-
that smoke coming from Kaido's mouth and
From
Luffy's hand.
From Luffy's hand. Look at it.
Yeah,
dude.
right above
It's,
him.
it's hockeyed up and fucking like.
No.
Yeah, it
glowing.
looks
No,
like
no,
it looks like Gear 4 hand, but he's definitely not in Gear 4 because of his face is not Gear 4.
Yeah,
so it's like
it's not Gear
no.
4. No, but that's what I'm saying is like
Could it
maybe it's like
be?
it could be a little hint as him using some sort of technique we don't know about. That
It
yet.
could be,
I don't
Or
think
but
like
it
it's
would
Gear 4
mean
aspect,
it's
but
some
who
kind
knows?
of it's some kind of gear where he doesn't hockeyfy most of his body if it is, because even
Mhm.
It's
where he's
not.
small,
It's not that.
he's
We can
small.
just shut this down. It's a fucking like compilation panel. There's no shot.
No.
I mean,
Well,
that's the
what
thing though
we
is that
can
it's like just a
say
little
is-
hint where no one thinks about it, but it could be something. I'm
Maybe.
just shooting shit.
I'm just saying,
look, all I'm saying is it's possible that art indicators are not always consistent for hockey.
They aren't.
just
Yeah,
putting it
I
out
agree.
there.
Yeah,
Because
they've
Eevee's this is
rarely
most
been.
likely not anything. I'm just saying it now so that if it does become a thing, then I could say I called it.
Yeah, fucking, I agree. I call it.
Let's go, dude.
But can we focus on how like Zoro's struggling with King still?
yeah, you get fucking
Yeah.
overpowered by King up in here.
Two
Disgusting.
hockey latent blades, and King's not even using it on his. Come on now.
I think him and Queen both used hockey in those instances. I think he's using it here as well. He's
Could
just
it
not showing it in
be
the portrayal.
art indicator for hockey is not
Isn't
is
consistent?
What? No
I'll
way.
say this. We talked about this before. And I mentioned this in chat with Bean, but the blade isn't serrated anymore, so it's not always serrated. I think he does pull like a handle and cause it to go serrated.
Yeah, we determined that like the chapter came out.
No, we didn't. I remember
we did.
I remember we had a discussion, and some people were saying that it probably just wasn't like a close-up shot, so we didn't see it, and it was just inconsistency in art. But I think in this instance, it's kind of showing that it was that he actually pressed a handle to create the serrate.
Oh yeah, you guys pointed it out because I was bitching about it being like, oh, it's in this one panel, but not in the others. Must be an art mistake. And then yeah, you pointed it out. So at least for me, it was all cleared up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This,
But yeah,
this next page may be my favorite panel of Orochi.
when's it gonna be a profile picture, bro?
Look at it. It's got to be an emote once this gets animated and it's like, or it's colored or more clear. Him picking his nose like that is just
Yeah.
fucking iconic.
The issue is that it's like
Laughing,
so
eyes rolled up,
detailed on his
yeah.
face with the rolls and shit that it's hard to make that an emote.
Once it,
The
once,
anime is
well,
gonna do it
the anime,
The anime will
or,
make it worse. Yeah.
or the what? Okay. Anyway,
Like it's less detailed as in it's worse, but like it's being worse makes it better for an emo, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
then we cut back to Chopper, Yamato, and
So
I
perfect.
like how she's just beating shit around while she's flying.
Think about the carrot real quick. Oh my god. Yeah, she is. She's like knocking people out the way and shit.
Yeah, just blasting through these guys, running fast enough and hard enough that
Pretty boy coming through, bro. Shit.
going down. All that.
So the way she's going,
Also, yeah, she does look really big, like Spoop said. That's
Yeah.
like
yeah, she's massive. She's a huge wolf. They
very,
actually said
very
that in the. They said that a couple of chapters back.
Yeah,
like,
when they
where's
saw
this huge
when
wolf?
Law's crew saw her, right?
Yeah.
Law's crew.
So the way the map is here, it looks like she is probably gonna end up meeting the Kazenbo like on the way down to the basement, because it's coming from the second floor, I think, and she's already 3 floors down from that.
Was that only the second floor?
I believe so. Yeah.
We're between the first and the second floor, in the attic space.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was still going down from there. Yep.
Okay. So yeah, maybe she will.
Yep.
Ice versus fire.
Oh, we know she's gonna one shot that shit. Come on.
Do we though, bro? What
She
if
wasn't
gets one? What
swapping
if
hands
she
with-
gets one shot, dude? Oh, the Yamato fanboys would be going crazy.
I might have to quit the series, man. I don't know.
Bro, I'd
No,
have to
beat him on shit
bro,
after that.
I'd have to become a Conjuro fanboy after that.
True.
Yama
Conjure the
Bros.
goat.
Yama Bros getting way too cocky. Conjuro fans fucking just winning, dude. We are winning, Conjuro.
Conjuro equals Kaido? Question mark?
Oh, man.
Kaido couldn't even one shot Yamato. You kidding
Exactly.
me?
Exactly, bro. But yeah, she's heading to the basement. She's pointing out the obvious. She said that Momo would have to slow down the island, but the speed of the island going there doesn't matter because if it falls even now, then it's still gonna blow up the fucking.
Well, there'll be
Okay.
less casualties. Is what she's saying? Oh, if it falls after Kaido's beaten and there's explosives are still there, there'll be 50,000 that die. But if it falls and you
No, she said
and
the
explosive-
entire thing would be engulfed, didn't she? She said like no, it would have the same effect, if I recall correctly. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I just think it's weird, this slowing down thing. But whatever. It's creating another fucking time gate, which I thought was being done away with because of the explosives.
No, but the explosives are happening because Kaido is going to. When Kaido's defeated, the island is going to drop. The explosives
Yeah.
will blow up. So if you turn off the explosives, then when it falls, because it's only going to fall and cause the
Okay.
explosives to go off if Kaido loses. If Kaido wins, then the explosives are not going to go off
Mhm.
because
Yes, they will.
Well,
no, they won't.
from her
Yes,
from her
no, no,
perspective,
wait,
from
wait.
her perspective, they wouldn't. She doesn't know that the fire is going through that place right now.
Okay, that's true. But yeah, the original intention wasn't for like Kaido to blow up everything with the explosives when he lands it. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
The explosives are only going to go off if they beat Kaido's file and just starts fucking falling, and then.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
obviously the
I
fire.
guess there
causes
is
that.
a time gated thing still because
Well-
if he manages to slow it down and then he gets defeated before it gets there and they got the explosives out, then the island will still fall, but it won't explode, destroying the capital if they end up slowing it down in time for it to not reach the capital. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me.
Well,
So
it's not gonna be just so the thing's gonna blow up because of the fire and all that anyway. But Kaido's at the point where if he sets down, it's still gonna be horrible.
Yeah, if it falls
yeah,
now
but
with
it's
the
gonna be like
explosives still
10,000.
there. No, it'll be everyone. It'll be everyone. From the
Yeah,
portrayal
with
of
the
that chapter, it was
explosives,
100%
with the
everyone.
explosives, everyone will die. But if
Yeah,
without
yeah.
the explosives, there'll be less losses. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. If it like landed on the capital, then it would be everyone in the middle, and then everything on the outskirts would probably be fine, type of thing.
And maybe, yeah. But Kaido doesn't have to like lose for that to happen. It just has to set down a little rougher than he expected. Is what I was getting at. Like Yamato's like saying, okay, worst case scenario, it plummets, but she also mentioned before, like if it goes down, it's still not going to be a nice picture.
Mhm.
Well, yeah,
And with the fire and everything, there's nothing she can really do except getting the explosives out or stopping the fire that would prevent that, unfortunately.
Mhm. And we skipped over this earlier also, I think. Was it earlier? The Momo stuff? Yeah, so he's like creating little clouds as well. And he's gonna create one big cloud by creating a bunch of little ones. So I guess that's the explanation for that. How he's gonna do anything. But yeah,
Let's look at that panel real quick though.
the Momo one.
Yeah. Wait, where is that one here?
It's on right after the fire monster. The same one where they say it looks like a ghost.
Okay, right. So I love that little fucking panel. Can you see him like tears in his eyes, desperate as fuck? It's
Yeah.
gonna be so funny and so sad at the same time. He is trying so hard to not be worthless right now. It's great.
I do think he's Chalk. I do think he's still gonna create a big cloud at some point, but I think right now this might be him slowing the island down with the small ones,
Also,
and then if it falls anyways, he'll have to create the big one.
also those small clouds that he's making are like many times bigger than like
What they're portrayed
what,
as,
what
like
they
in this.
would be if he was a smaller dragon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're like
They're,
literally
like, bigger than
that's
Luffy.
50. That's 50 small dragon ones in one single big dragon cloud type shit.
Yeah, it's more effective probably. Anyway, we see Ikoku sovereignty again. We get some small little showings of the castle, and dude, this place is just being fucking ruined. Like everything is just fucking destroying all of this stuff. I don't know. The castle's in shambles. Like it's gonna be completely destroyed by the end of this. I think that skull. I think like this is kind of like a weird thing to bring up, I guess, but I feel like Oda is gonna have the skull like collapse at the end of this as like a
It could.
symbolic like yeah, Kaido is defeated. You know what I mean?
Like fucking holy shit. What is thinking not thinking of the name. Nami's arc. The end of Nami's arc.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
the
Arlong
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 Park,
Park, yeah.
I can see that. I mean, it's already got missing a horn. I could see
already
it
fucked up.
collapsing.
And then we'll be there that week to bitch about how the roof held up for so long with all those attacks, and then like somehow it fucking gets cracked later. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah,
get some-
but it's cool.
We get some big
It-
mom greatness. I love the way like her and Kaido's combined attacks, but also just some of their other attacks. They have like they're like this completely white like beam. You know what I mean? It's just like an
A
absence.
lot of white space.
Yeah, and I really like the way that those have been portrayed through the arc and everything. It looks cool. It's like just this gigantic fucking negative space.
Nothing has beaten Big Mom's first Ikoku sovereignty for me. Like on Whole Cake Island, just the way that was
one
portrayed.
That one was so. Yeah, we don't have to go into that, but yes,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a fucking amazing moment.
That was fucking sick.
I love the one she does that frees Sasaki too here. I think that was my favorite one of the arc so far.
It's so good. Oh,
Yeah.
Big Mom is so fucking cool. But yeah, I love how she's like following him as he's falling. She's like, I'm gonna fucking take this dude out, and then we get another controversial part of the chapter.
Yeah, she does that
Like
gigantic
the fourth
attack.
one.
She does that gigantic attack, and then she's just like laughing. She's like, "I'll start with you." It's like,
Yeah.
you didn't start already? What? Oh man, dude,
Bro,
yeah.
Big Mom is just a threat, and people do not respect her enough.
They
in
do
this
not
fucking
respect
I
fandom.
swear to God,
Big
man.
Mom.
I swear to God.
It's almost like Oda's been telling us what, 4 or 5 times now this arc. Oh hey, this bitch is just as bad as Kaido.
Yeah.
She was introduced as, think of her like a second Kaido. Who the fuck knew she'd be messing things up? I don't know, man.
And she's fighting 2 of the top 3 supernova right now.
No, Red. She's
Whereas Kaido's fighting
embarrassing
1.
2 of the top 3
Yeah.
supernovas right now.
She's, well, until later, where we get the
Until the next
controversial part of
page,
the
yeah.
chapter. So what
What's
do you guys think about
controversial?
this? Well, Law knowing Awakening is controversial.
I have no problems with it at all.
I don't really
Yeah,
either.
we did have a pretty big conversation about it when the chapter dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think he's had it since before Dressrosa. I think he
Same.
had it in the time skip. I'm totally fine with it. It doesn't bring any problems for me.
Oh,
There was
I
no
I
point
disagree with
in.
that.
I disagree
Well,
with that.
hang on,
I
hang on.
think if he did
Hang
know it
on one sec,
during
one sec.
Dressrosa, it would be a
In
problem.
Rosa, there was no legitimate time when he could have used it without potentially fucking over the rest of the arc. And this is a far more desperate situation. So
Now-
I can appreciate him choosing.
Let me propose this idea. You remember when he used injection shot on Doflamingo?
Yeah.
And that's an attack that also works by damaging your insides, right?
Yeah.
Right. So he had a better option. I mean, he says
But it
here-
would have
he
used
says
more
here, oh, I'm near death or
stamina.
whatever, but like he had a better option to do, but he chose a different one when it was like a life or death situation.
I mean, here he still has his arm, so this
So,
this,
at the
this,
time
this
we-
situation is
at
really
Wait,
less dire.
We can talk about that. We can talk about that because Dressrosa injection shot, he still had his arm. What Fats is saying is mostly legitimate. I would only say against it that
That was the middle of the fight.
that was like the start of the fight almost for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
but
was
yeah,
like
that
he
was
wasn't
way
he wasn't at the
before-
end of his like rope yet though. So like him using so much stamina in that moment could have been a detriment if it didn't work out. I agree with Bean on that, but I think the issue here is that there was parts later in the arc or later in the fight where I think he could have used it reasonably, even though the whole room thing was happening. It could have prevented that from being able to happen, but it
Well,
also could have been beneficial to use something like that there, especially if there's more uses for it. My issue is that I think if he didn't use it back then and he did have it, that is an issue for me. And I think the dialogue of it burns too much energy to use in a real battle is Oda trying to justify him not using it back then. And that's why I think he does have it, or did have it at the time.
yeah, I agree. I think that is the justification for it not being used back then. I feel like the big reason, like it is a legitimate reason, by the time he would have been at a point where he could use it. Because if we see here, Big Mom is not looking at him. Doflamingo was 100% dedicated to fucking Law's whole day up.
That's viable.
He couldn't have actually sat there, used his awakening, and then go for it. Like from what we see, Doflamingo's actually just raining blow after blow after blow after blow on Law. There's legitimately not really a lull in the combat that isn't Doflamingo stringing Law up and then fucking him up later.
It's like, I don't know. You talk about near death. Okay, like number one, he's like, I'm not used to it yet. Whatever. Number two, Law almost died by getting his fucking head stomped to death by
Mhm.
Doflamingo, and he didn't do anything afterwards. Like, obviously, he was running low on stamina. Whatever. I just don't think there's any reason to
Wait.
believe that he had the ability during Dressrosa. Like, we had a whole arc, and like at minimum like a month of time during Wano and like off-screen Dressrosa travel. All that time, Law was off-screen. Like, why did he not?
But he was also doing things. He wasn't like just sitting around training. He was actually like he had active
No,
things that he had to be
yeah,
doing.
that's fine, but it's like,
So he didn't have
know,
time
why-
to train in my eyes.
well,
from what I
maybe
see.
he figured it out after Dressrosa. Like, I don't know why he
Well, it's
had
not
to have
just-
had
it's
that
not
ability
just
before
training.
Dressrosa.
Yeah, it's not just training. It's like creative thinking as well. You know, Luffy didn't have to train to use his gears, I'm sure, for example.
Yeah, but this isn't Gears. This is a different thing.
It's kind of the same thing. I mean, of
isn't.
course,
It's
you know,
not an
awakening. It's
application
a
of-
whole other. It's a
it's
whole
not an
other
application
level
of
of the
room.
fruit.
It's literally Kroom is different than Room. That's so
Yeah,
it's not like he had to creatively think how to use Room. It's that he had to awaken the ability to be able to use this new one, Kroom or Chrome, however it's pronounced.
While that's true, I think I like Chrome better personally. While
Chrome
that's
sounds better.
true,
Coomers.
we also don't know that awakening takes like specifically training, or if it's something that comes after time, or like how it's done. You know, it could have legitimately been he spent a week thinking about this and it popped up. You know, it's a stretch. It's a stretch. Like, I'm not saying for sure. It's just we could say that if we had to.
But that dialogue of it burns too much energy to use in real battle does feel to me like it's justifying him not using it in past battles, including
Absolutely,
Dressrosa.
yeah.
And then I also want to
guess.
say, if if it does like show in a future chapter like a flashback to him learning it between Dressrosa and now, I would be more okay with it. But it just right now the portrayal makes it seem like he did know it back then, and he hasn't had it for long enough to actually be able to use it in a battle, quote unquote, according to him. Um, that's my perspective. But if it does show something
I don't
with a
know.
flashback, I'll be a little more okay with it.
I just don't see it at all. I don't see a reason to think why he would have it in Dressrosa. He's like, I'd only use it if I were near death. Like, how many times was he near death in Dressrosa?
But
Yeah,
how
that's
much
why it's an
energy did
issue.
he
That's
well,
why
hang
I
on, how much
consider it an
energy
issue.
did
Though,
he
Fat.
use
Yeah,
to or
that's
did he
why I'm
have to
saying
have,
that's
though?
why I'm saying it's not the case. Like, what we don't really have any reason to think that he had it during Dressrosa. What he says makes Dressrosa a problem. It's not like Oda doesn't know that. He's like, I would only use it if I were near death. It's like you could take that a different way, I guess, and be like, oh, well, that's why he didn't use it in Dressrosa because I guess it wasn't tough enough or whatever. But that makes way less sense. Like Oda
It does
looks
make
back
less
Well,
and
sense.
thinks
you
at that,
you
and it's
are
like, yeah, like why? He figured it out after Dressrosa. Like why?
I can't disagree with that, but I will say from the start to the finish of Dressrosa, Law really did place the most importance on I have to preserve my power. This is Doflamingo. So it really does make sense if he's saying here, I would only use this if I'm next to dead. It's too much power.
Well,
If it's something that, if it's something that like he would need that much desperation to use, by the time he gets to that point with Doflamingo, I mean, really, legitimately at death's door, like he was just 16 times, he lost his arm. I don't think he actually physically could have used his awakening. Because after that, he's just out of the fight until Luffy needs him.
well, the thing is like he talks about, oh, I need to preserve my fruit. I need to preserve my fruit. Right, right. He does all that stuff.
Mhm.
Assuming that he knows how to use awakening, but it taxes him, why does he use this entirely different plan? Right, his plan is like, I'm gonna create this gigantic room that Doflamingo doesn't even notice, and then I'm gonna do like injection shots. I'm gonna do this other stuff. I'm gonna try all these things, and he tries all that stuff, and then he still loses, and he's like on death's.
Hmm.
He's like about to be stomped to death by Doflamingo. Right?
In his defense,
What I'm
Well,
though,
at
saying is
that
like
point, he couldn't have used it.
it's made that he looks to have exhausted all of his options, right?
Mhm.
That last option that now exists for him presumably did not exist in Dressrosa because of that stuff. He had this other plan that didn't revolve around that ability at all, despite the
Yeah,
seriousness of that, not only for him emotionally and just the whole thing, right? Like he would have used it. It's
I
like,
agree.
yeah,
I agree. I agree, and I just think that I need something to show me that it was learned afterwards. I can't just like assume that. Because like right now, I'm going to assume that anything that we haven't seen from him and we haven't seen him learn on screen is something that he's always known and just hasn't used yet.
And
Because we
that's
met him
honestly
fairly
as
recently.
fair an assumption as the other way of maybe he just learned it recently. It really is because we can't say either way. With the Dressrosa thing, I actually agree with Seppi here. If we go back to the fight, at least for memory, I haven't like read back in this time or anything, but I recall that Doflamingo really just did not let up on Law.
Mhm.
Like I brought that up before. If we see Big Mom is fighting Kid on the rooftop, Law could have used it, but then he had Luffy, Zoro, and Killer around too. Like
Mhm.
maybe he just didn't feel like he'd gotten to the point where that was too necessary,
I actually
especially
have
with his
something to back that
dialogue.
up as devil's advocate against my own point. um, so the entire time, like the reason Law made that giant room is to trick Dofi into thinking that he wasn't going to do anything with his room abilities, something trickstery or whatever.
Yeah, that he
Um,
was just out of power
yeah,
entirely.
but if he had to use Kroom, that's like a concentrated attack on his blade. He would have to visibly show Dofi that he's doing it, put it on the blade, and then attack him. But the reason he got the jump on him with Gamma Knife was because there was a giant room. I think it was Gamma Knife when this instance happened.
Yeah,
Was that there's a giant room around the entire thing, and Dofi didn't know he could use an ability at that time, because he had been relentlessly attacking and preventing him from using his room and shit like that.
Well, no,
So-
he had the room. Doflamingo was attacking him. He had the room.
yeah.
Doflamingo thought he killed Law, and that was his opportunity because he shoots him. Was it
True.
16 times or just 6 times?
think it was
He loads
6.
Law full of bullets and then cuts his arm off and then shoots him. By that time, the fact that he could use a room at all was, he even admits, steady suicide. I don't
Yeah.
think he would have tried to use Awakening if he could have at that point when he had Gamma Knife already in his back pocket.
If
I don't know,
Oda
man.
says something, dude, if Oda says something like Law didn't have his arm back then, so he couldn't have used room to coat his blade because it requires both arms, I'll be like, okay. See you, Oda.
Dude, he could have just done it before he lost his arm. Like, I don't.
He couldn't have though. Like,
No,
there wasn't a
when
chance
he did when he did the injection shot shit, like that's like where he would have used Kerm. Like I don't.
He's only able to
I
do
think
that
the
because
issue is-
Doflamingo is upset and gives him the opening. But
know, but
Law
that was
before
part-
no
that
no
was part of his
before
plan,
that,
though.
Law was getting rained on with blows. He couldn't have set anything
I-
up.
I
Injection
think-
shot doesn't take anything except pointing his blade and pushing.
Dude, I think that's like that's so goofy. Like imagine being Oda.
It's just circumstance, you know?
Oda fucks shit up, but like we're talking like forget the in world shit. Think about like Oda. He's like, okay, I'm gonna give Law Awakening and Wano. When did he unlock it? Well, damn fucking sure he didn't do it in Dressrosa. That's like the instant thought. If you're writing
The
the
way
series.
I see it
I know
is
that's
that
like a
like
goofy argument, but like, bro, why the fuck would Oda ever like try to? Why would he try to justify that being an ability he had in Dressrosa when there's no need to? There's no need. He can just have him fucking figure it out.
because
like,
I feel like
during
it's
or
hard to
after.
believe he could have figured it out afterwards because there wasn't really like any instance. We don't know how Awakening comes to be. Obviously, we don't know how they learn it. But I'd assume it has to do with something like battle wise. Like
I
you,
don't know, man. It's
I'd
where
assume
the-
that.
He
It
has
doesn't
just
seem
been
like he's
chilling.
real effect, I
He
will
has been
say.
chilling on Wano before Luffy got there. He was doing whatever
Doing
the fuck
work.
he was doing. I mean, he
They
wasn't
were
really
prepa-
doing
they were
anything.
making preparations.
They were all
They were
making
sitting on a
preparations.
mountain.
Yeah,
They
I
were
believe
just
they actually state that
It's
Law
just
was
like-
like busy doing stuff in
like
Wano too.
think deep meta. Forget like the in-world reasons for this shit. Deep meta.
I just think
If
okay, so
Oda
deep meta,
introduces this,
meta
why
fact.
the fuck would he have him know it during Dressrosa and just
Deep
never
meta
do it?
facts, deep meta. Okay, so Luffy knew Snake Man, he knew Gear 4, he knew Tank Man, all before he encountered Doflamingo. But he didn't use Snake Man or Tank Man, hypothetically speaking, right? But I think that he's treating Law in the same way, where he introduced all of Law's like lesser attacks along the way.
Red, I'll
But he
back you
treats
up a
it
little
as
bit
if
here.
during the time skip he had learned all of these things.
I'll back
similar
you up
to
a little
Luffy.
bit here.
That's
It's
valid.
Then
even
he
worse
kind
than
of
that.
escalated the revelations.
I think that's a valid counter argument. You can make.
We have Fishman Island with Luffy nearly dying, with
Mhm.
his entire crew and hundreds of thousands of people's lives being based on him being able to destroy a ship. Not a single bound man, not anything besides Gear Third was
Snake
used.
Man would have helped a lot.
I don't know if Snake Man would have even helped a lot, but Bound Man for fucking sure.
Bound
King
Man would have
Kong
popped
done
the
that?
bubble, bro.
Yeah.
Snake Man would have helped.
Bound Man popping the bubble would have been okay because Noah didn't hit Fishman Island yet, right?
What? No, I'm just saying Luffy would have been submerged in water.
Oh, that's fine. Like the point is, like, he would have been able to blow the thing away with a punch if he really wanted to. Like someone could have come out and swam to him.
Oh, like King Kong gun type shit.
Yeah. like,
No,
he
I don't
could have
agree.
King
I think
Kong-
Elephant Gun covers more surface area than any of his Gear 4 attacks.
that is absolutely not true. Yeah, it's kind of true, but not the the AOE damage bit of it.
No, because it blasted. I mean, the AOE damage is like I feel like it kind of pierced more, but since the ground below Dressrosa was hollow, that's what caused it to like shatter like that. But I think King Kong Man is actually kind of a concentrated attack, if anything. Like the actual fist at the end was pretty small.
King Kong man.
Did I say something? I said
You said King Kong
King-
man.
King Kong gun
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I
it was
don't
it
know
actually
about
the actual showing of it like slipped between the fucking the strings and like was nearly around the same size as like Doflamingo's face almost.
it didn't really slip through the strings.
It kind of
just kinda-
shattered like one of the strings. Yeah.
it just kind of broke through the ones that he was like shooting up into the fist. But uh, well, with the city, it does like cause a full-on cataclysm for the city, though. Like that is a lot of damage there.
That was but that's a hollowed out city because of the underground location.
It
so that
was,
That's
but
it was
it
a
did
lot of
still seem
impact.
like a good
I mean,
quarter mile or so of
a boat is
collateral.
still majorly hollow as well, so I don't know.
Underwater though.
I don't know.
It wasn't underwater. It was in an air bubble.
Oh, was the Noah itself in an air bubble too?
Yeah, that's where Luffy and Hody fight.
You're right. It
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're fucking like way down the.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
are.
You know, I do have to say something. I'm gonna brag a second here, because I said I would. I totally called Law and Kid's Awakenings fucking years ago. Kid being
Yeah,
able to magnetize shit,
Me too.
and then Law doing his room outside of his body.
Yeah, I called that, but except
Yeah.
I mean,
I
at least
called it
the
a little bit ago.
former is like extremely obvious. I
Yeah,
feel,
former's
but
very obvious.
The latter is pretty obvious too, though. Like,
Laws is cool.
Yeah.
I wanna get to the actual page here. So we see Kroom, and then we see him use anesthesia. I like this a lot, regardless of like the reasoning why. I just like the ability because it implies that Kroom is the awakening. Anesthesia is just one application of it.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm gonna
Kroom is the new
croom.
room. It
I'm gonna
looks like.
Kroom, bro. I'm Krooming.
Bruh, but yes, Kroom is like, that shit is yeah, anesthesia is like the thing that, yeah.
Anesthesia
What
is
you
the
said, I don't need
stoke
to-
cording.
Anesthesia is
that
the
lets
ability that he
Law
used on
through.
Big Mom in particular,
he's
but
using that
Kroom is
Or
the
Kroom
awakening.
is like it's how Law's other abilities work. Like he often does that, where he has like he's like room shambles, right? And he's got
Yeah.
like the different things, right? Like
Yeah,
so
his-
but the main takeaway is that anesthesia isn't his awakening. He has other things he can do that we haven't seen yet, and that is
no,
exciting. to
Kroom
know.
is. Yeah, Kroom is the awakening.
Yeah, I said it
Anesthesia is
isn't. I said
just-
anesthesia
yeah.
isn't. Yeah.
You know, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then I like what he does with the shock will here. The way it blows apart all the homies too.
yeah, I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it was. And then we get all that stuff. This is incision is harmless, but Kroom influences the body in other ways. I saw Chalk talking about this earlier, so I do want to bring this up. So it does it. Do you guys think this is what I think? Do you guys think it just bypasses all defenses, even including hockey, so that he can just do shit? But the downside is that he can't use room and be more like mobile with his teleporting
He
and shit
does
like
use
that.
room. He does use room though. It's the thing.
What?
He shambles kid away like right after.
Yeah, that's after. So he probably used room afterwards and then shambles away.
Yeah, he wasn't.
He
using
he's
Kroom all
already
this.
pulled the blade out of Big Mom at this point.
Yeah, but like there's no indication that he used like he probably already had a room active. Is what I
He
think.
Probably
think so.
didn't if he was complaining about energy economy. Honestly.
Yeah, I don't think he had a room active. I think it was just he used room. There's a lot of times where we don't see him use room, and he did use room, and he just does shambles. I think this is just one of those cases where after he pulled out a Big Mom, that sounded weird. After he pulled out a Big Mom, he used room and then shambles afterwards,
Yeah,
and that's the
I
case. But
agree.
it seems to me like this is probably like a downside to his awakening for the justification of the buff to his attack power, where he can only use one at once.
Fagu's kind of right too. He like jumps on Big Mom and then decides to just fall away. He probably would have just ported himself around if he had
Yeah,
the remote.
that's also true. He jumped.
Nah, man, he needs the fucking gravity force to get through Big Mom.
And
Yeah, but
use
I
the
need
gravity
an
to get
answer.
back to
I
the
need an
ground.
answer to my question.
I
Do you
do.
guys agree that it probably goes through all defenses, including Big Mom's hockey or Kaido's skin slash?
Yeah,
hockey?
yeah. Well, at least hockey because obviously I don't think the sword would have been able to go through Big Mom without Kroom. If it was just his regular attack, I don't think it would have gone through her at all.
I think the only reason it goes through her is because it's not a damaging move at all. Kind of the same way Perona's ghosts go through people, you know?
that was my impression too. Like he just puts it through, and I mean he obviously says it's harmless, right? But
Mhm.
it's like picture of like the room but reversed, right? right? Like that's what
Mhm.
happens. It's like this fucking weird room where he's able to go through physical objects. But it's
Well,
not. It's
that's
not
how
like
that's how him
impacting.
separating people is too,
It's
right?
not-
That's not like a damaging ability, but he can't do it on people that have like crazy hockey, right?
No, he couldn't move them. We never get that he can't cut them.
That's true. They never
Yeah.
said that. You're
I
right.
think it's probably fair assumption.
Like,
that
I imagine it
he
might
can't
be
cut
both,
them.
but
I mean, you want
cutting
to
them
assume
also
you
wouldn't
wanna
have
assume
really
it's both.
helped.
Otherwise,
mean,
it's like why didn't
our
Law
first
just dice
hint-
them
our
on the roof?
Our first hint of Hockey doing something against his powers was that Virgo would not be able to be cut by Law, and then he got cut
He did
by Law.
Or he did get cut by law.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
yeah.
right.
We just haven't had confirmation that he can't cut them, just that he couldn't move them at the least.
Yeah, but he can. He can.
But, yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and with this, it's just like
If he could, it's that opens up so many problems that there's no, he can't.
Reminder that this is Kid, by the way.
with the with the crewman and all that, the anesthesia. I just figured because he was going into them in some non-invasive, it's invasive but non like noticeable really way, hockey wouldn't be a factor in it. In which case, there's no defense. There's just you slip it in and it explodes from the inside out. He basically has the best version of advanced armament with his awakening.
If he can
Yeah,
get close enough to you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the downside. If
Which is
he
also the
can't
thing,
use
he
it
does
right.
actually seem to have to stab someone and then use the move,
Yeah, his
which
his
is
sword needs to be in you to do that, I would assume.
yeah. I was gonna say that
Yeah,
kind of lends
hence the
more
crew.
credit to him not using it in Dressrosa. I'm just saying.
That's how. Okay, that's how I feel, Seppi, too. That I don't think he can do crewman room at the same time. And that's like that's the deal. Because if he could do both,
Yeah,
if he can like shamble himself around and do that, it's too much.
it's busted. Yeah,
And
but I
the
guess it would use
mobility
more
isn't
stamina. But,
as
Yeah, it's
inconvenient as it
technically
is.
a room, but you know, like he's not gonna be
As
able to-
inconvenient as losing the mobility is, he's also not the kind of fighter where that's like his main gig. At least, you know.
I don't know.
Like,
He
it's-
likes
it
to
doesn't
throw
seem like
rocks at people and teleport to them.
yeah, like it's one of his favorite tricks, but it's never really been like he can't do this, so it's that much of an inconvenience.
Mhm.
You know what I want to see, man? I want to see how Viz translates that line from Kid. 'Cause I'm reading through this, right?
You could use some more
Uh,
magnetism.
Yeah, you could use some more What the fuck, Kid? You need to
I
step
know,
up your
right?
fucking
Use some more
punchlines, man.
magnesium, bro.
Dude, he's gotta step up those punchlines. Viz needs to. They gotta do something else.
It would have been so much better.
Use
Magnetism,
some
Big
more
Mom. It's like,
magnetism.
oh, you really got her there, dude. Like, what the hell?
A sign is a cool name, though. I'll give him that. I like a sign.
Oh, that's cool, yeah. Yeah,
A
it's cool. This
sign.
is very.
It's better than
cool.
Kroom, bro.
I want to see what Viz does for Kroom as well, but I'm always gonna call it Kroom probably because I'm a Kroomer.
Funny. Yeah. Kroom. Yeah, let's talk about Kid now.
Yeah, no, this was fucking awesome. This is like I think
This is
what
sick.
every person who was like bitching about Kid not knowing, like, I've seen so many people come in, it's
Conquerors
like,
and stuff like that.
oh well, he knows Conquerors, but
The coding,
Conquer
the
coding, yeah.
but
Sorry.
people bitching about, man, if only Kid knew how to use his fruit better, like assuming that his fruit actually goes beyond like what he
Yeah.
does right now, all that stuff. All
Going
that
it-
fucking
dude, I
bitching and
hate-
crying,
that's my
dude. It makes
least
no,
favorite
makes
thing, man.
Fucking no
I
sense
mean,
to think
like-
about that. I don't know.
In a way, I mean, I'm not. This isn't very creative. Like people, what people want is like more creative uses out of the fruit, and this is like not a creative use. This is like the
they don't want
expected
more
use.
creative uses. They want more
Yeah, they
super
do.
powerful fucking flashy uses.
No,
that
what
have
they
to be
what they
creative
what
on
they
the side.
want is like fucking DC Marvel comic shit where like
Yeah,
they're
basically.
hyper
What they
specific.
want is
I hate
Kid
that shit.
having
Man,
something
see,
that puts him on Luffy's level.
I
If we're
can't
being real
believe
honest
this,
here.
Bros, Kid bros, he's not blood bending. The iron
Yeah.
blood, man. Come
Why
on.
isn't he blood bending, bro?
Well, I'm
He's
not talking
making
about blood
magnet
bending either. It's
clones.
just like having like one small piece of metal around that's like has some sea stone on it or some shit, and just like
Listen, man.
hitting people with that shit, man. Like it'd be great.
Kid
But-
as
but instead we just
Populatus
get,
from
like-
Maple Story is sick, and I will not hear otherwise.
I don't think that kid should be throwing around like Sea Stone and shit. It just feels like that's not his personality to me.
Or like any stronger metal, like anything, like it could be instead of like fucking junk that he picked up from Onigashima.
Huh.
He threw
Kaido,
like
Kaido, I know
18
you have impenetrable scales, but what if I magnetize these sea stone cuffs on your body and then put sea stone chains all around you and end the fight in one fucking second? What do you think about that, Kaido?
Yeah,
Like,
how you
bro,
feel
man,
about
come on.
that one?
I mean,
it's just not his thing. Like, you know, kids trying to be out here like fucking ripping
He wants
people
to
apart.
power. He wants to fucking.
excuse the pun, man, but Kid is just metal. He's like Luffy. He's a fucking headstrong
Exactly,
idiot.
exactly.
And what he does is he smashes fucking people with big mechs, and he fucking sends goddamn giant metal balls at them and shit. Like, that's what he does. He
He's
just
sick.
crushes. He crushes
Kid is
his
so sick.
fucking opponent. He's like Luffy in that way. I feel like if he did anything more like crazily intelligent or any shit like that, it wouldn't really add up for me. And I don't mean like intelligent as if, oh, he could do this if you know, he was just smarter. It's like, I don't know.
He's
a
he's
lot of
not the strategic thinker. Killer is.
A lot of the proposed ideas for like what he could do more with his fruit, I think, are too much.
It doesn't
It's
fit One
always
Piece
too
for me.
much.
I don't like any of those.
Clearly,
DC
every
Marvel
One Piece
comparisons.
character needs to be a JoJo character, and that's it.
Red, that's actually my problem with like most of these fucking theories. They don't fit One Piece. Kid isn't
Yeah.
gonna make a fucking black hole out of magnetism. Come on.
Oh god, don't mention black hole in this server ever again, dude. I'm just getting flashbacks from fucking 2019, man. Jesus
Who are you
Christ.
telling, dude? I was the one in the middle of those.
I
Come
know
on.
you were. I was fucking there. for
Someone
shit,
that was like
oh,
hyping up
God.
fucking Fujitora, like saying Fujitora is gonna create black holes, and he was like the
Oh,
biggest
God.
Fujitora stan ever.
And then, like, fucking ironically, we have Blackbeard already create black holes. Like, come on.
Kind of.
Blackbeard's not very well educated. I don't think his black hole
Yeah.
attack is actually a black hole. So
He really could use his ability more creatively.
I think Blackbeard, yeah, he could. he could be
He,
more
so
creative.
clearly, he needs to make like black hole clones
Oh,
and
no,
just
man.
send them around. Steal devil fruits for him. I'm just saying.
Mhm. Why can't he make shadow clones, huh?
Oh, my God. Okay, we're going too far. I think we're gonna scare everyone away with those fucking shit.
Yeah, but this was a really awesome chapter. I did not like how Kinemon came back.
Was a
I'm not
roller
gonna say
coaster.
it was bad. I just personally did enjoy it. I'm sure Oda will make it all good. There's really nothing objectively, even subjectively bad about this chapter for me.
I will stand by Kinemon being objectively bad. I will give the benefit of the doubt for
No,
Law
no
and the fire
objectivity.
thing.
There's no objectivity, I'm afraid. It's just
Oh, sorry.
objective.
You saying that objectively?
I'm saying that
Objectively, there's no objectivity.
Objectively, that's right. Objectively,
But
in-
subjectively, I feel like there is objectivity. But where is your God now?
But anyways, I don't like the Kinemon shit. I don't like how it was revealed that Law had this shit, and I'm iffy on the fire spirit thing just as like a explanation for his ability. But the latter two things are like not huge issues, and Kid and Apu were sick. So whatever.
Yeah,
Chapters whatever.
I was spoiled on Law and Kid Awakening, and I almost banned the person who did it. If you're hearing this,
Done it, bro.
lucky. You're extremely lucky. But this
mod
was
abuse?
such
Mod
a
abuse?
really
Maybe for breaking the rule.
this was a really awesome chapter for me, not just for what happened, but for what's gonna come right after. Like, I'm really excited to see where the Big Mom fight
Chapter
goes.
was packed
You
with
mean-
shit, dude.
Wait, you
It was
mean
so
Raizo
bad.
versus
It was
Kurocho?
controversial.
But wait, I
Raizo.
was saying that because I do love the chapter, but I actually have to bounce. So I'll catch you guys later. It's been a really fun podcast.
How long has it been? Oh my god, 2 hours.
Big dog.
Yeah, see you guys.
Yeah. You guys want to bring people in here for a bit? I do have to go soon, but I want to bring people in to talk and shit.
Okay, we got.
Yeah, go for it. You guys pick them. But yeah, there's a lot of like big events, a lot of exposition. Exposition, I think, excited me more than the big events. So
Yeah. Who else?
Dude, someone bring in Kroom, bro.
Get the Kroomers in here, bro.
Yeah, dude, we need the Kroomers in here, man.
Let's see here. How's it going? How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
It's your boy Keemstar here.
Okay, enough. Alright, I'm gonna stop the stream